of the BFS program are to that's the objectives of the BFS program. Given the dire financial status of most South African consumers, it is obvious that a great deal of education around finances is needed. Stats indicate that almost 70% of consumers are over-indebted. Around 78% of disposable income goes towards paying debt, leaving very little funds for necessities. This situation is largely due to the lack of knowledge and financial management, lack of discipline, poor financial planning.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. It is a pleasure for me to be here amongst you. I believe the service and the session has been wonderful since yesterday. But today, at this moment, we're going to be talking about something equally important to the other stuff that we have been discussing. As it was said, the name is Eunice Sibiya. I'm from FNB. I look after the program called Be Financially Smart. It is a program aimed at educating South Africans how to manage this thing that is very troublesome. I will mix English and Sisuthu as far as I can. And I really would love all of us to benefit from the session that we're going to, from the presentation that I have put together. A problem here too is that the majority of us were never taught. I'm sorry. I want to move around. We were never taught how to manage money. That is a statement, but I would like some acknowledgement. Am I correct? Okay. Inking lab. See, we come from different backgrounds, but we're from very poor families, but with patterns. But we were okay. In all of it, up until today, where we are still at different levels of financial status. Khona banayina learning, khona ba-writing, khona bazamayo, khona banye kunzima kakhulu. But what is common kithi sonke ikhona lento iyafuneka futhi. And what is also common to the most of us is that izinto is allergic to me. As in as I suppose. No, I'll be here ish. Yeah, thank you. Do you have money for all of these things? So the question that we need to ask is, why do we need to talk about money? Why is financial literacy important? When I say financial literacy, I mean education about finances. It's because of those reasons. The obstacles that prevent us from being smart in the money are those. Lack of knowledge. As I guess I the majority of us, I said that earlier. Pay. But our expenses name I get what as is rule and salary. Oh, wonderful. Okay. We need to make a plan. We really need to make a plan about that. And unfortunately, given the economy, yes, in South Africa, but also globally, things change. In our families, we have people that have been made redundant, meaning our income. Now, them being family, even this is a situation in maybe the breadwinner or the spouse who spends a half day, and in one way or the other, you find yourself having now to help out. You didn't budget for that, no? But manje makuthiwa anti impupha yikho, what do you do? Makuthiwa ama-lights awekho, electricity iciniwe, what do you do? You feel compelled to help, or you are expected to help. Uthanda ungathanda. That's this. Operation Fat Alice. These are the things we do. I know just like it, but so let me get a what we account. We feel what to be for no for that. I want it. Yeah. I'm not telling it all done. I'm not going to say my was born. Born, I was born. When did you do that? My ticket is cell phone. When you in? Tata yoke and you run with it. There's a problem with that. Big problem. What problems? Because one, the bank is not going to charge you. I need to know that. But the problem also is it doesn't happen in that month. You see that month, because something might happen. That will be an even bigger problem, and we don't want that. So certain things that we do, we think we're doing them for survival, but also sometimes create even more bigger problems. Next. Numbers don't lie. So when you look at our stats, the statistics that the Reserve Bank issues, the Reserve Bank looks at the pattern of the economy of the country. And these are the things that we do. So the consumers being asked, we are consumers, we consume. We spend 4 times more on clothing than on healthcare. Okay? Those are the stats. This is no one fabricating the story. That's what your transactions are saying. Number 2, consumers spend twice more on alcohol than on education. So, school fees is in areas as consumers spend 2.5 more times than, on DSTV than on insurance. So we take out insurance policies, but again we keep our bounces, just so that in that month I can pay my full bouquet in DSTV. Yes, I spend almost my whole day in Sebenzini and a full bouquet in DSTV. But I feel because Usis Rose next door now, Agnes no married and dogs all over 970. Abazala Bonke Banayo, Msala pressure, the competition, we need to sort them out. Furthermore, financial statistics also show 6%, only 6%, we can't grow that money, but the fact of the matter is less than 10% of South Africans are going to retire comfortably. That is not right. Because the population of the country is around 50 million, maybe slightly more now. So if it's only less than 10% of South Africans that are going to retire comfortably, what does it mean? It means that almost 90% of us will depend on the state or family. Is that healthy? It's not healthy for us as individuals, nor is it healthy for our families. It is also not healthy for the country, for the state. Because the state can never have imalenga. Yeah, I wanted to use another word. Yeah, but the state cannot take care of so many citizens. And lastly, 68% of credit-active citizens, that is us who are working, who have accounts here and there, are over-indebted. Being over-indebted means you have far more debt than your income. And in literacy, that is a problem. Next. So, is financial management, Lena, is Kulmangai? It is not something very, very, very difficult like it sounds like. It is not. It's something that is doable. The only thing that we need is information. Because they need to be taught how to manage their pocket money right? In high school and tertiary, they need to be taught how to take care of their income. Whatever sort of income they have. We need to know how to master the management of our income. The previous slide was showing our stats, and we agreed with those statistics are not healthy. We cannot have less than 20 money in the when is wrong in majority. So, and when we spend money, for us to discuss the spending problem, there's a problem. The problem is that, Joe still lengthy. I said earlier, we come from different backgrounds, and we also have different levels of education, abanye more than others. Mamanje, we have different levels of money, financial status funny, age yetu as lingane, and our financial commitments our fun. Our circumstances ekhaya our fun as fun. Right now, as we are saying to Zokulma, those who are nearing retirement have problems. Those who are middle-aged, abanengane ikhulile, as the fees must fall, ingane is full education, they have a different set of problems. Abanengane ingane is in primary, different set of problems. Abano baby, nabanengane, those who are still wanting to get married, we saw the beautiful dress and top billing wedding. So we are all in different categories in our heads in terms of conditions that status that. So when I say let's have a conversation about money, do you see that everyone's minds is all over the place? So for us to be able to talk about money, and we are all on the same page at any time, we split them up into those 4 categories or 4 pillars of finance. It makes it easy for us to talk about it. So the first pillar, or you call it a quadrant, is transacting. And when we talk about transacting, we talk about these things that we do every day in Maliyetu. How much you get paid, into what type of account, how much debt do you have, how are your dreams, how do you transact when, as an individual? Are you one of those people that have the ATM, each and every ATM you feel good if I withdraw your money? Are you one of those people? Do you even know how much does that cost you? So when we talk about transacting, we cover all of that and more. The next pillar is saving and investing. That is a very problematic pillar because people say, because they are short every month. It's this shorting thing that we need to talk about. This shorting business that we need to fix. And we can fix it, all of us individually, if we are dedicated enough. Like I said, it's no rocket science. We can all do it. We just need to be taught how. We just need to be disciplined, ongoing, forever. If I never do it, was again, and then we can do it, isn't it? Aha. Borrowing is the biggest problem. You think saving and investing is a problem, borrowing is a problem in all. Because we borrow as a country, as individuals. You see, we make the effort, you save. We have all sorts of excuses. My friends say, save money, I'm not save, I'm not invest, I'm not funding, I'm not money, no. Marama to an loan. Who's putting sign up? We can change it. The last one is insuring. Insuring now shouldn't be a problem, but it is now a problem. Why? You see, insuring as a garage purchase. Insurance life insurance insurance 1, 2, 3, 4 nothing happens. And then people start abandoning their policies. Guess no, but Murphy's law. That very month you stop paying, something happens. I think most of you have experienced that. It is sad because the insurance companies don't want to pay out. Basically, I don't even back. T's and C's apply. Another problem with insurance is that in England we are over in certain categories and under insured business. Over insured, you will agree with me, but if funeral policies born, we have them galore. Now, I was 7, so 6. It's a problem. And we are underinsured in other categories where we need to be insured. Life cover is those things that we need to know and master. So when we talk finances, it is therefore healthy for a picture of Mina as an individual and Mina with my household. What is it that you need to do with your money? But at the bottom, you saw that thing in red. It says financial literacy is a critical skill for every person. We must remember that statement. Next slide. I am not going to dwell on this. You can click. I'm not going to dwell on this because of time, but I wanted to show Uti the financial behavior of most people in certain age groups. So we leave home, we buy cars, and I'm fully fledged. I love gadgets. And I need to pay dress for top billing wedding or wedding. Then your balance sheet looks like that. I want to explain it, but we own as in our names. We owe it is a problem that we need to fix. So when you look at that picture, about 16,000 rand, that's all they have in their name. Everything else is the deficit here was about 309,000 rand. It's not right. Next. So as you grow, age of 50 to 55, you've now bought a bigger house, Shaloma Burbs, you drive a beautiful car, you drink you wear expensive shoes about Jimmy Choo, and you go to bed with a broken heart because your debts are more. Sure. Next. So when you look at the balance sheet, you want to manage 1.8 million because at that point, okay, finish you now. If you look at on the left way, if you look on the left, 120,000 rand worth of finish. This is 1.7 million that house. You have your car and Umamana's car or your wife's car, or you have 2 cars, you have 2 credit cards, you have a personal loan. So Galena is always more than this side. That's a picture that we need to change. Because for the most of us, we don't understand that situation and we get into more trouble. Next. There's this thing called consumerism. Consumerism is, like I said earlier, each and every one of us here, as in Mali, we are called consumers because we consume, we buy to use izindo. We are consumers. So consumerism is this behavior of consumers, which is in most cases not right. Not healthy, I want to say. Next. So what consumerism does is it changes identities, because now I live to please people, right? Saying for now, you don't fashion 10 years now. It creates vulnerable mindsets. So Lala was afford to live that kind of lifestyle every day. I'm going to do lawyer. Also, I'm telling you to go and packing because we are somehow you meet different people. Yeah, but feel as though I should be passing right over packing. And the problem is there's this thing called marketing and advertising. So each and every company, not in banking, telecoms companies, and cell phone, I'm a company motor, I'm a e-dollars or Uja, also so sad at a school and keep wearing gun. So as I advertise. They want to unload it and put in a cabbage. I need to have a cabbage more patata and a zamba and a carrot. Where did you say that you sang it? We are going to shoot cabbage and plant. If bank is of foreign, you've been pre-approved for a loan. That's advertising. A paper movie paper shop on it's why it's especially handy end, it's especially the advertising. But why is it that when a telecoms company, if for a cell phone here, but it's at end, you feel I'm so special, so better vote to it I'll be good. That's a more routine. Right. Yeah, well? which you've been pre-approved for a credit card or an overdraft or whatever loan, like, why do we do that? Why do we do that? It's the same thing. You didn't say anything to her, like saying, I can because of that figure, now pre-approved, say thank you, not now. It's good to know though. It's good to know what your credit record is right. Because let me tell you, that very month I pay, what is going to happen? You need to pay. Were you ready to pay for the loan? Is it in your budget? Or do you budget what? Let me try budget. Now. Is it important? Is it important? Do we need to be budgeting? Maybe not every month, but maybe every second or third month. Do we need to? Let me tell you why budgeting is important. Earlier on in Tessia Group, we have dreams. We have aspirations. We want to see ourselves for ourselves as individuals, and our families and everything. Those are dreams. And those dreams, you can make them goals. In those money, if you say, we said earlier, there's different. So you need to take those dreams, those that you really, really want to see happening, materialize, with balance. That transferring is a commitment from yourself to yourself and to your family. We are banned, but in time, which is still a village. In time, which is still living a local. In time, which is still a village. Equally, doesn't tell you in front of you, but as long. In front of you, guys, and it's full of civil which the wood. In front of what who born and little open pan from 10 what. I need. So those are dreams and goals. See as by parents. Next to it, which ni, let me tell you, Lulu Bonda, like you and me. Usman gave you a in school. During that period, planning now. So you dream, then they become goals, you write them down. You must have your black book. That's where you plan and write down. So you dream and make goals, you write them down. And how much can I afford? So for instance, an example, in a V-Band 6-8 engine, and so it's my way to it. No, you are having this conversation with yourself. Because who was your Amanda Payman? Yeah. And you write these things down. We are there, we could take us of deposit your money. How long is it going to take you to have that deposit? If you need to put some money down every month or save, so that what you are on a 10,000 rand to put to October. November, December, January, how? 3 months. If I'm not a man, you know your situation. So you put timelines to right? And they must be smart, simple, measurable, attainable or achievable, realistic, and time-bound. We can't, that's why, oh my gosh. Only if you know what to do they're counting. Because of course, I have a phone also if I figure that on my basic decline. What you are saying is use smarter ways of banking. Imagine on a way account. Unga iphathe bank donsa, unga imshini donsa, yena strange la uthi ngithenga khona, baswipe, bakhokhelana indaba zakhokhelana ngalemuva, you take your stuff and you go home. Let me tell you, that transaction is very cheap or the transaction is for free. And because there's a swipe by most of them, depending on the type of account that you have, are free. You have cell phones, it's smart. You can do cell phone banking on your phones. And if you need WhatsApp, near Shizema, near Twitter, near Instagram, all sorts of sophisticated stuff, but influence banking is simple. It is convenient, it is cheap, you do it at Kaya, do it at Kaya. We're sober, where's the show to Loma Zero, alright. It's convenient, right? We're trying to improve the technology to make your life easier. But what do? Secure a branching part. It's very shishi is doing. Because it's kind of 60. Oh, yes, you want to speak to your consultant, it's fine. But I was going to say this to save time and money. But we shall continue talking about these things until we get it right. All of these things fall under transacting. Once you're good with your transacting and you're good with your budgeting, you then are able to allocate money. When you start talking saving and investing, we can save and invest. Because you now can invest from as little as 50 rand. And about to investment, you can start investing from as little as 50 rand. You can be an investor. Let's look at investing. Investing is good because it gives you backup. Right now, I want something in because I want backup. We are forced to go and open an account. Toast. 999. Commissioner Street. So I was budgeting but end. Pay back the money. You didn't have money for a get. You then went and created. It's quite a decision. It's a problem. We must learn to have the reserves back up for yourself. Put money away. Make a sacrifice because it will save you. So that you don't go borrow or take out a loan or buy things on credit when it's not necessary. The third, sisters, thank you. So the third one, we borrow. We borrow, singers, we don't understand the conditions. You know, in the competition is good. Usisi Rose next door would deliver fridge. And 2-door, double-door. When we put them young, I need to see the crate. We put them young, or to my food, it is spent some manzi, and food right delivered. Go order to 4, done because we have to deliver 3:30. And what I know, put la watch in the track. I don't want them to see the things we do. Because you come to us as a quality man to do these things. Come and end. Rose. You didn't know. It's a problem. People go to weddings, they need a new outfit. People go to funerals, and every week you need a new black dress. It's a problem. Borrowing was never created to become a problem. Credit was designed to do us good. For instance, if you buy a house, not many people can afford a house for cash again. So that is why we have home loans. Personal loans are designed to help you out. But we shouldn't make them a habit. When you take out this quality for the right reasons. You are sure you've looked at your finances and you will honor the payments every month until the last payment. Remember, that's what your contract says, John Hussain. Those are the things that the contract is saying. Then you skip over payments, you are in arrears, they charge you extra interest, then the following month double, it becomes messy. So whenever you think of this bullet, just take a moment and ask yourself, do you really need this before you sign? Then insuring, like I said, quickly, I'm sorry, Ms. Kaj, how am I doing for time? Signal, somebody? Okay. Insurance is good. So when you take out an insurance product, you are transferring irresponsibility. You are transferring accountability from yourself to somebody else. Example insurance motor. I have a car. I'm a driver. I think I'm a good driver. Or right? That day when the accident happens, I don't know what I don't know how much it's going to cost. Therefore, I don't know who's rating a money to fix my car and maybe the other person's car. So because I want to sleep peacefully at night, I take out insurance, but I make sure to get bundled every month. And I'm aware, I might be paying for a very long time, but it's the decision I have taken. I'll rather transfer the risk to someone else who will run with that process. I can't. That's an example of thinking when you take out insurance policy. You have a life cover policy. You are saying, as I am standing here in front of you today, I don't know when I'm going to die. But I have beneficiaries and dependents that I want taken care of. I get it. The day I say, the breadwinner, or my household, my family, I don't know the day insurance will I would rather buy a life cover policy. I pay every month. That money is invested. The day in pass, it will pay out. My family will be able to continue living. That's a policy I'm deciding to buy. So insurance is for such things. You take out insurance here and look, it takes care of the structure. You can have insurance for the furniture. Accident, then whoever that you've insured your stuff with can take care of those things and replace them. Right? Well, it wasn't supposed to be in money, but it's not much. Funeral policies. Our funerals have become very expensive. Therefore, local data started funeral policy 10,000 rand. That's no longer enough. I get it. So that's why I said that. Which is a problem, which every month must make sure he has cocaine in it. So I never cook school fees saying that I got the funeral policy because you never know when. You never know when you might be knocked out by a bus. But the biggest problem around that is when you take out a funeral policy where an insurance company goes straightforward, they are an insurance company. They will give you the terms and conditions, you agree with it, 20,000 rand or however much. All you need to do is pay the premium every single month. I get it. Then you go to burial society. Now you cock again so that you keep it and they do. Then now on stop fair. Where's what you is called? Right? So, but you look at this thing, you feel like the cash amount is not enough. It is your any policy. Is what you top up. That's what we do. So you end up with 4 or 5. But because we don't understand these things, we don't know what you're running the risk duplication lab. So here's the thing. If you go to, because now banks have funeral policies like it, but we're not insurance companies. We are bringing a product to you to make it easy for you. It is underwritten by somebody else. For instance, Magiti gives example. If you take out a funeral policy by FNB, it may be underwritten, say for instance, by Holland, right? The documents will say Holland. It will have an emblem there by FNB, but it's a Holland policy. You took it from FNB as an FNB customer. Yeah, I see people nodding their heads, you understand this. But because when you phone a form, then you go on and foot when. Or you touch an aim, and I'm trying to call you. Or you didn't know the situation in Ghana. And then you go to Kaiser Chiefs. Ne? I'm very Ghana. Then you go to Kaiser Chiefs. Kaiser Chiefs is also underrated by Holland. Did you know that? Thank you. Then, there's a death in the family. You wake up in the morning, submit claims. How many are going to pay out? Why not? What have you been paying for? I beg your pardon? Holland. Oh, Zonke Holland. You are a smart bunch now, but please can you go home and check your envelopes? Namhlanje, can you just dust off those envelopes and check which is deeper and up and fix your duplications? When you fix your duplication, do not just stop paying, because that's what you also do. If you can no longer afford a policy, or you realize in something like today which there's a duplication, pick up the phone or Yana one and say, this is the situation, this is what I'm seeing, can I cancel this one? I'm saying delay because I'm fine here. They must cancel it properly on the system. Don't just abandon it well. And another thing is, what they call a saving component or investment component in them. So when you just abandon it and you walk away, you're walking away from your own money. So you check it and ask. Next, I think Sissy might be very much. So the pillars of finance again: transacting, saving and investing, borrowing, insuring. And those are just the topics and questions and issues that we address under each. Next. So after this conversation, what is it that you are prepared to do with a little bit of information that I've shared with you? Are you going to continue with this into the way when Zanakwana? Or do you see a need to change? I always make an example of Uma directions which hamba uye Vodacom a mid-range, a World, I mean a mid-range. But make my directions. And somewhere you take a wrong turn, we are Centurion. At some point, mom we can't move my direction, but you don't know sister, I need to make a U-turn again. Can we decide to make a U-turn today? In the manner in which we manage our finances, can we make a U-turn? And start doing things differently so that you see different results with your own money. And you owe that to yourself at least and your family. Let's have a different mindset. I'm going to make a very political statement right now. Tina as in the Zoom, we always complain about this volume and but you just clumsy in man. You just wasteful in man. Why do we do that? Let's have a meeting with ourselves. Just have a meeting with yourself and a book. Just write down things that you want to see happening. Write down areas where you need to change and stick to that. You will see different results. It may take a bit of discipline because the way up until today. Decide to yourself, I am making a U-turn. Not driving with the it's easy to make a U-turn if you're looking troops, simple writing it. And then the mama eat. What do you U-turn? U-turn. No me track and Kulia say breweries. Fanish shift and as any more than it's in the land. You can't put an apple and it's a ship work. What's the space you drive? Which man boy? I thought. Yabana, I'm ready. It's not so cheap. Never. When Joe was still at the student, get a little come. You could be an Uno, you could be Trakawa Albani, You could be trucker or coke. Ngey'kweletu zakho. Mhlawumbe umetro rail isitimela. Make that U-turn. Make the U-turn. Because if you don't, if you don't, why? No point of return for you. Make the U-turn. There are some tips. Acknowledge the areas where we need to change. If your order is here, your lunch. You shaking, your lunch order. Sasa nilandi pizza, the other day chicken, sasa chicken licken, sasa nandos. And sending one again Monday, these are the stamp. You must shut up. Because I'm making a U-turn. I'm acknowledging areas where I've been wasting money. So when there's a kushma on a spinach, no, I'm making a U-turn. Do not be ashamed. Do not be ashamed. I'm a Brazilian. No, it's none of your business. You're all a mission punch. Usually is it differently. If one of us has a U-turn, you want to make your own U-turn. Because you now know which goals are you working on, which goals do you want to see fulfilled. You have a plan, and also you have budget and every month. Thank you. Review your products. The accounting person is around. They're no longer appropriate. Check. You need to change. Or there's something wrong with the account. It's you. The way you use the account, you need to change. Remember we spoke about the charges. Thank you. Consult with the financial planner where it's needed. We have Usis here in front of Dimakato. She's a consultant. For those that have questions, they can speak to Dimakato about our products. If you're interested to know anything or to open an account, she's here, she will help you. And I'll tell you what I can do for you. But be disciplined and never give up on your dreams. You see, with the dreams and competition, we have a problem. Next one. Line the sensor. What I love Angela, the yak. When you look at her and crashes a bar. Over Muhammad Angela. The accident, we are. Because Nkukulema was never meant to be that high in the water. That is why he looks like he does again. We'll take the finish. But we can help you dress you up. Alright? Most of the women are going towards the success. Mina, I help you with the how. I help you with the how. How to do it differently. Next slide. Next. So those are the details. I'm here today as the head of the Consumer Education Program, but usually we do this with a team of educators that go out to schools, we go out to companies, we come to events such as yours, So the name that I have there, given Mabuza, she is the educator for Gauteng. Those are her details. She can come to your companies, we can go to schools, we can come to events like this and do a presentation such as this one, even at a deeper level. And then at the bottom are my details. If you put too many email, bfs@fnb.co.za. BFS stands for Be Financially Smart. That is the name of our program. I really thank you for your time. I hope I was helpful.
I would like to take this opportunity and say thank you to Umamslia for the presentation together with your team. I think that was a life-changing presentation for most of us. And we are hoping that we are going to change our behaviors going forward. I think that is the main idea. Thank you so much, and hope that going forward we obviously maintain the relationship. And when we do have other events, we'll definitely invite you again. Can you please give a round of applause? I would like to hand over to Mrs. Tuli and Mrs. Mbata. I see there's some nice goodies here. I see people are waiting and saying you did not say anything about the nice goodies in those green bags. So I would like to hand it over to you and just direct us in terms of what's going to happen next. So while we are sorting out, we are going to take a short break. We are preparing for the live streaming test at 5:30. So once we get direction in terms of what is going to happen right now from Mrs. Tuli, we'll take a short body break and then come back. More announcements. So, can I get an indication from Mrs. Phoebe if you are ready? Okay. So, okay, let me hand over to you and then I'll do. So Umamslia is still around. If you've got questions, I think we are just going to have an informal engagement. You can come through, you can ask questions. Would you like to come back on stage to take questions, or you like to do? Yes, I believe you are interested in a lot of questions. Questions? Are you shy? She is available. She'll be taking questions if you want to ask questions. Our ushers, they will be distributing, as we are seated, they will be distributing the goodies to all the delegates. And once we are done with that, may I request that all those who will be doing the performances, can they now get prepared, get dressed? We don't even have to finalize our acts, just get dressed. What I would request is that for the sake of the smooth running of the program, I would have to move us once again. So I will need all our performers, our acts to come and sit on this row, so that it will be easier to coordinate them coming on stage and doing the performances. I will also request some strong guys to get everything down from the stage, prepare nicely for our clergy downstairs, and then get the team to finalize the testing, the live stream testing, and then 6 o'clock we kickstart the program. But as I said, Umamslia is still around to take questions. If you do have questions, if you are scared to ask using a mic, you can come to her and ask questions. I think there was a lot that was shared this afternoon, and I'm sure there are a lot of questions in terms of how we can implement the information that was shared this evening. So, yes, that's what we're going to do. Can I have those who are going to be performing get ready and get back to the seat, especially this role. So I'll ask all our gentlemen on this side, once you've received your goodies, to create space for our young ones who are going to be doing performances. They will be using this space. Amen. Can I see someone who's got a question? Is there someone who's got a question? Yes, Mr. Kwan. You've got a question. Are you good? Oh, I see there's a question there.
Especially to our financial institutions, is that our financial institutions, they inform us about credit before they can inform us about investments. They tell us about credit. Umntwana cool, a teenager when grows up, before he even works and earns money, he knows about credit, and so much about credit before he knows about investments, and the different kinds and types of investments, and the different percentages of investments. Why don't financial institutions, as concerning as they are, by bringing you here today to give us this presentation, why don't they advertise the different types of investments which young people can
As a financial industry, it's by me, and we practice differently. So I cannot stand here and defend the rest of them. I can only talk about where I come from. But what you're saying is true. There's more awareness and voice on credit than anything else. We have this program that actually started in 2006 by FNB. So we have been advocating and trying to educate. But if iningi alikwenzi lokho, obviously we're going to be overshadowed. So your question is correct, and it is a point of concern. That is why today we are here, and we shall continue making sure that voice is on you can invest as early as possible. Abazali ingane incane bavulele ama-account basebancane. Yes, I know we take a funeral cover ingane now one day, it's fine, but also open an account. So, because the interest rate is so huge, we're all operating differently. And abanye, they do push credit more than anything else. And there are those who do push Amanema products and credit is over, but obviously the space is very cluttered.
Just one question. Don't you think there's a market for the investing industry whereby, let's say, FNB, for example, they pursue that market, they just fulfill on that market, and they bring awareness to you. This is a tool as such. It's not to money and invest that because if we have taken a step, don't you think there's a market?
We do. We have adverts, we engage with certain institutions. I suppose where we are, maybe because if you're saying you guys are not aware, I don't know how many people aren't aware, but some are. So we shall continue, maybe extend the platform on which we promote these. But we do. Thank you so much.
May I request that the 14 to 19-year-olds who have not gone to the game, you can do that before we close, but the rest of us can continue with the question and answer. 14 to 19-year-olds can go down to the game.
Thank you, ma'am, for the nice presentation. My question, I'm an F&B client and I'm using the smart account. So I wanted to know what is the difference between the smart account and the check account, and what are the advantages of using a check account instead of a smart account? Thank you.
The last bit was the advantages of using versus the smart account. Okay. The difference between the two types of accounts that we spoke about, they are both transacting accounts, but the difference is with the check account, you have more offerings and more values than you have on a smart account, for instance, which is just a simple traditional transacting account. On a transacting account, you get your card, your debit card, and that's it. On a check account though, remember back in the day, check account used to have a checkbook which you could use. They've since fallen out of space, they're out of fashion. But a check account also offers you offerings such as the overdraft facility, which obviously you need to apply for because it's like a mini loan, a short-term loan if you need it. A check account, you then also qualify or you fall into the category of Aboma value adds, your e-bucks, you can get a petrol card if you want. So with check account there are more offerings. But the thing is with also a check account is obviously the qualifying criteria is different from a smart or transacting account because they look at your income. You should demonstrate that you are in that position to be using all those other value adds. So the common thing is that both transacting accounts you get a card, but then with a check account you have more offerings than you have on a transacting account. And obviously your monthly payment will then go up. And one thing that I wanted to emphasize on to everybody is that this issue of bank charges, I know it's a very painful matter. You should not be paying imagine that 300 rand and 210 bali every month. You should not. Educate yourself to transact smart, like I said, to reduce some bank charges. Remember I said earlier, you have your monthly charge which you sign up for when you open an account. But then, if you take a 3 months bank statement, just analyze it, you will see how much transactions that you performed and that you were charged for. And all of those things are what makes up your bank charges at the end of the month to be more. So if you can analyze it and see how many times you go to the ATM, how many times you went to the bank, how many times you did this and that, we are going to do all these things end up, and that is why at the end of the month, again, look at the type of account that you have. But there are two types of accounts, two types of pricing option. Alright? So you have an account that says 495 per month, 5 rand per month, or 49 rand per month. Right? How do I put this? So with a pricing option that says we will use the pay as you go or pay as you use. And then unlimited. So unlimited means for the electronic stuff, it's a free zone. You can swipe, you can transfer money, you can do whatever. So long as you do it on the cell phone, you do it online, you won't pay. Then to pay as you use, every transaction you get charged for. Again, I'm asking you guys, go check the type of accounts that you have. The pricing option that you are on, maybe that's where the problem is. So if you are a heavy transactor, pay as you use, because that's where the charges come from. So some of these things, information by me, because of the accounts, kanti kuye nehabit ukuthi vele thina indlela esiphatha ngayo imali zemshini zingene ebranchini zemshini zingene ebranchini. So we need to change that. Bank charges can come down. Bank charges can come down. You can pay 49 rand strictly every month. Nikoko 300 rand. It pains me. We're a bank, but it pains me. That is what I'm here this afternoon.
I think we are financially budget as a family. I'm a class and time. If I get you call the idea to have a normal financial.
When you say budget as a family, you mean the opportunity when someone comes to your house Am I cutting
No,
it too far?
Mhlawumbe kube ama-class similar to leyo ngasinika yona ukuthi ama-spouses aqhamuke afike ahlale phakathi niwasize ukuthi afundiseke nabo together.
Thank you. We do advocate budgeting as a family largely. I think you saw it on one of the slides. I had it on there. Maybe I didn't elaborate on it. Budgeting as a family is very important. Like I said, we take the one parent or partner would be strict and smart with finances. Tina is sometimes this family or backdoor. Or is it now your home? Ladies, but in So it is very important that we take finances seriously as a household. I've been mentioning that. I mean, name that is it must form as law. So as far as classes go, we don't have particular sessions and classes for spouses. But what we can arrange, like I said, we do go out to companies and everywhere, but obviously when you go to company X, you are working somewhere else. We then can have such a setup which is universal, which is open to everybody. So if you could have a power for someone to say, I'm making an example. For instance, like Kaya, you could say, let's have partner sessions. Who's there? Husband and wives and blessings and day. So that you're all educated. But we do advocate budgeting as a family largely. Because if we don't do that, I call it, we're working on a leaking bucket system. So when we are to Papa, boom, deficit. And finances is one of the leading issues when they finances is one of the leading reasons when we talk to divorcing attorneys. It does lead to divorce. So it is also for that reason that we need to work together as a family.
I've got two questions for you. The first one is, what is FNB doing to the young emerging entrepreneur, especially the young ones? Because in the stigma for us as blacks, if we go and asking for the loan, it tells a lot of stories. Indians are who see that in China because of the business. The second one is, why are you charging people who are starting a business, registered company, and open an account with you, and charge them so much, even if they haven't got the job? Because they have to start, if you want to start a business, you need to have a banking details first. But every month you keep on charging, people are still looking for a job somewhere, doesn't have anything, but you're charging them so much. Why?
Marawai. Okay, the first question about entrepreneurship. We do have a facility, we do have a program rather, through business banking. So when you go online to business banking, www.fnb.co.za or onto the business banking platform, you'll find more information there. And when you make contact with them, they do have programs. I know they have a program in Soweto, they have a program in different areas. They do go out and we have people that actually sacrifice their Saturday mornings, go to those places to educate. They gather youngsters. We can't be everywhere, but we do have such programs and we're trying to help it. As far as the business account is concerned, my charges. Remember, the business account in its nature is a check account. And a check account has got monthly fees because of all the offerings and the value aids that you get to the account. So it's those charges that have to go through every month. If they were to have, if it was a personal account, and either they would take the other accounts as Nanama charges and when they put the account in 495. You understand? But a business account in its nature being a check account, obviously it has a monthly fee. And those are the charges that we're talking about. They're not very high. Ours are very reasonable. So when you open a business account, it is assumed what you're trading. We don't have a business account for Mundonga. It's just a catch-22 situation. Ask this.
Ukuthula owamumbuzo ngilapha kwi-airport ka-U10 kunento ehlale ingilimaza uma ngibuka abafowethu nodadewethu abagcina bengene kulento kuthiwa i-administration. My question is, let's say someone is got debts, committed ones, and they're equivalent to your salary, or slightly higher than your salary. So you can't afford. And now what you do, you go to an administrator, and that person is going to charge you more interest. And you find that you go deeper and deeper. Does the bank have an assistance to assist our clients before abantu baye kuma-administrator? Because ngicabanga ukuthi lapho umuntu ukuthi usizakale kodwa usukungena more ey'kweletini.
Thank you for the question. It gets support. It is an important question. Like I said, we couldn't cover everything. Very important, very question that Ukute has asked. So when people are indebted, they become desperate. To your point, when your income is equal to a debt or a debt is more than your income, that in itself translates to trouble. So what do you then do? Because even in the informal situation of banking, also qualified because you're in debt. Businesses have micro lenders and everything. But another thing is that because of the lack of information and education, yes, and also lack of discipline, we quickly want to transfer the responsibility to other people. When I spoke about insurances, I talk about transferring responsibility. With debt, people do the same, but they want to transfer to debt counselors, debt administrators, debt indoni and debt indoni and debt indoni. Which is a problem because one, we do not educate ourselves to understand how those institutions are run. To your point, they do charge a fee. By the way, because I no longer can afford anything, but they're going to charge me a fee for their services because they don't do the services for free. You understand? Already that's point number one. Number two, I do not then make it my business to sit along with the debt administrator or debt counselor to make sure what went on in that account here. I want to go home and sleep and let him run with my finances. This is a struggle speak out. So we need to educate ourselves. Remember, this is my financial situation. Everything is in my name. And once we advocate DIY as an option. DIY, do it yourself. We spoke about making a financial U-turn. That is DIY. Take a helicopter view of your situation. You don't understand? We are there to help you. But you need to know your situation so that you can sort it out yourself. I tell you, 80% of the problems, it's things that we did ourselves, yes, listeners, but it's things that we can change now that we have the information. That U-turn is taking shape. Involvement of other parties, debt counselors, debt administrators, even debt consolidation. Be there, walk with them, because everything that they're busy with is in your name. Well, they're going to charge you for it. So today we advocate Kakulu in DIY. Let us inform ourselves. Ask questions, be informed so that we are able to make informed decisions. I said we have financial planners, we have the program, we have other specialists who can help in that space. Can I talk about the debt consolidation quickly? It has become fashionable now for people to think debt consolidation is a solution. It is. There's a however. There's a but. By the time most people come and apply for the debt consolidation, they are in a red code. Credit scoring bad. So when you apply for the debt consolidation, financial institutions look at it as a new loan, which you need to qualify for. That is why you get declined. Excuse. Make the U-turn. We're here to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Spear. Like I said, Uti, I think going forward, we'll obviously maybe even have more sessions where we can really engage in the different platforms. I think this was just the start. Thank you for the questions. Over mind, we are going to conclude here because I believe there is another session that is we are preparing for, the Skype or live streaming session. If you want to, we can take a quick 5 minutes break. I would request that because we are now going to bring back the kids, so this row, we can split some going back to that row, some going back. I'm going to leave this row for the kids. As I mentioned, I'm going to leave this row for the young performers who are going to be doing the performances. So as we do or take our body break, I will need that space allocated for those people that I've identified. And really running behind on our program. Thank you very much. Dr. Pasek, can you give me some music, please? Can we request that we get settled, please? Can they come in? We are starting now the session in just a couple of minutes. Please come closer. May I please request all the kids, the Sabbath school kids, to come and sit here. All of them now. Mama, the kids, they need to be here, all of them. The rest, we need all the kids now. And we need everyone seated. Please. At the back, can I get the ushers to get everyone inside, please?
Would you like to open your bottle of water?
No, thank you.
Can I get the ushers?
Okay. Is there anyone else that you're working with? Okay.
When
I was just trying to see all the
can you get everyone back inside the bottle?
And we need a bottle of water, so you just alone.
Fine.
Alright.
Testing. Hi, can you hear us? Hello? Testing, can you hear us?
Okay, maybe that will cooperate. Hi, Cora. Yes.
Hi, Cora, can you hear us? Cora?
Hello, gentlemen.
Hi, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hey, Hunter.
Hello? Hi, can you hear us?
Hello, Farsight. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you hear us?
Zoe, is Oxford on this map? Could you please check for us?
Yes, I can. Hello. Hi, I don't know if it's morning or afternoon there.
Yes.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. The sound sounds perfect on my end. How about your side? Okay. While I am ready when you all are, we can shoot when you're ready. Yes, sir, I can.
Call. Hello? Are you able to hear us when we speak through the microphone?
Yes, sir.
And can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Left or right? Yes, sir. That's fine. We're starting at 11. Yeah, you're fine.
Can I have abantwana benza ama-performances all set? I only see
That better?
bonke abantwana baperforma 3. Uma bengekho abantwana by 5 minutes, we're not going to have their performances. If bengekho in 3 minutes, we're not going to have their performances. To start a session njengamanje ngiyadinga bonke abantwana abaperformayo, be it drama, be it poetry, be it umculo, i-dance. Angiyiboni igroup yasevenda, angiyiboni igroup iyakule Durban South. Where is the Durban West? If I don't have the Durban West in a minute, they're not going to perform. That is the deal. Can I have everyone properly seated?
Yeah, people.
bazalwane siyobe si-streamer live and we are going to be watched nomhlaba wonke. The least we can do is to cooperate. Uma sithi abazalwane abahlale kahle and everyone else babuka sihlezi kanje, it does not appear nice. This is the first time we are doing this. We are exposing ibandla lethu to the entire world. The least I request from you is cooperation. Ngiyacela abazalwane basondele phambili. We can't have a hall that is ihlezi kanje abazalwane bengahlezi kahle. Angazi umuntu uthi ngaphesheya kwenze njani. We are Church of the Holy Ghost. We are disciplined church. Can we at least, for this moment, I see a lot of gaps here. I see a lot of gaps there. Everywhere there are gaps. We can't have gaps. People should come and sit at the front. Please. Can you please move up and up and move on? For move for the other cons. Second Sunday. Can you close all the gaps? When service, can you please move up? And the people behind you. There's remaining people standing, please sitting down. All the standing people, can we all sit down, please?
Okay, so let me get that side too.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Igama Osenamile Wagamshongo, proudly representing Otambeni branch. Ngisathanda ukubingelela ingilozi enkulu uNorevayeli, umholi, abagcotshwa, ikhonsikazi, ifundikazi, amalunga, libandla lonke lesibingelelo soshukuthula. Hi Cora.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Great, thank you. My name is Senamile, I think as you've heard. And we'll just get the program in the show on the board.
Okay.
So Cora, sitting next to me is Mrs. Mshongo. And Mrs. Mshongo is our outreach, welfare, and children's ministry leader in our church. So after your session, she will be part of the panel that will be sending questions to you, as well as the rest of the church.
Okay.
So just as an introduction, when I mention the word children's ministry, it may conjure up images and thoughts in your mind of small little children sitting in a circle and singing hymns and reading Bible stories. But children's ministry is so much more than that. It is the vehicle that the church uses to introduce the Holy Trinity, God the Son, the Father, and the Holy Spirit to young minds. Through children's ministry, we teach them about important concepts about Christianity, concepts and teachings that will form a firm foundation on which they can build their faith throughout their stages of life. So today, church, we have the pleasure of speaking to Elder Cora Jakes Coleman, who is the Executive Director of Children's Destiny World's Children's Ministry, all the way in Dallas, Texas. Now, church, we must be informed that this is a live streamed session. So where Cora is, hi Elder Cora, what time is it in Dallas right now?
It's 11 o'clock a.m. here in Dallas.
Okay, and here it's actually around 6:10 in the evening. So this is the first in our church, and we're extremely excited to have you as part of our session.
Thank you.
Just to introduce you, we'd like to start off by playing your biography video.
Cora serves as the Executive Director of Destiny House Children's Ministry at the Potter's House of Dallas, where she's able to impact the lives of children and teach them the importance of Christ. Her fertility faith blog has helped change lives. Her writing has encouraged women and families that are suffering from infertility.
By speaking fertility faith immortal beings so that we can begin to produce our dreams and produce our promises no matter what our fear is.
Cora is a dynamic, down-to-earth preacher who captures God's heart with her prayers and inspires her audience to faith it with her pen, her prayer, and her platform. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cora Jakes Coleman.
So after the session, you'll actually be able to access this whole session on YouTube. We will be distributing the link, and when you get home, you can review what has been said and join the session once again. If you'd like to ask questions after the session, church, please could you kindly tweet hashtag CFFM. So if you're on Twitter, as Cora speaks, you can actually start typing your questions. Or you can go to the Church of the Holy Book Facebook page and leave a comment as a question. And at the end of the session, we will take your questions. So just to unpack what Elder Cora will be speaking about. Elder Cora Jakes Coleman will share tools that she uses as the Director of Destiny World Children's Ministry to prepare God's children to occupy their place in the kingdom and inherit all that God has for them. Today we'll be taught how to inspire our children to be observant, creative, how to accept and overcome challenges, as well as how to unite together to produce. At the end of this presentation, you will be invited to occupy. Without any further ado, I'd like to hand over to you, Elder Cora.
Wonderful. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I am honored to be here to share just a few of the tools and resources that I've used along the way. I have been the Children's Ministry Director here at the Potter's House of Dallas for about 3 years now. And when I started, we had 150 children every Sunday, and now we are at about 600 to 700 children every Sunday for our children's ministry. And so I was able to kind of heighten our attendance clearly, and we use many different resources as far as curriculum and all of that stuff. But I wanted to talk about occupying, and the reason why is because our VBS just recently, our Vacation Bible School, we did occupy. We're going into a new building, and so we wanted to teach the children how to occupy this new building and their schools and different things like that. We try to make sure that we line up what we're teaching them at church where it can be used at school as well, so that they go into school with the same type of knowledge and wisdom that they have at church as well. And so when we look at Occupy, I always use acronyms for almost every word. So we did Occupy this year, we did another word last year, but I break it down. So Occupy is observe, create, challenge, unite, produce, you. And so the reason why I use acronyms is it's very easy for children to remember an acronym or a word rather than to have to learn a huge lesson. So we may break down each letter throughout the week of our teaching. So when we're talking about observing from a director's perspective, I would say that it's very important, one, before you can even occupy your position or occupy your power or do something as a director, you must first feel that you are entitled to occupy, that you are qualified to occupy, that you are called for that position. Because a lot of times we will allow our surroundings and the schooling that we had or what people say about us to make us feel like we are underqualified for the position that God has called us to be in. And so before you can even occupy, you must first feel that you're qualified to do so. And when you're observing, you want to observe what you're creating. What atmosphere are you creating as a director? What do the children see you as? How are you observing the area, the safety of the area, the way the volunteers are responding to the children, the way the children are responding to the volunteers? Being very observant as a director will cause you not to have a lot of high risk issues. Because if you can get ahead of it, then you can kind of stop it before it starts bubbling up into something that is chaotic. And so you want to be very, very observant in a director's role for safety first. So we always say safety first with our children before volunteers, before classrooms, before toys and curriculum and all of that. Background checks, observing your background checks, making sure that your volunteers and your teachers are getting background checks and that they're getting them every year, because things can change within the year of them being there with you, that they have a heart and a commitment to children, because you can't really be in children's ministry and not have a heart for children. I find that children's ministry, you have to have a heart for it or you will lose your mind. So you have to really undergird yourself in a way where the children know you love them, where the volunteers know you love them, where the children feel loved, and this is like their second home. We're the kids' second home. So observing from a director's standpoint is going to be your safety, looking at your teachers, looking at how your children are responding to your teachers. Because sometimes you may have a child that's never disruptive or challenging, as we would say. You may have a child that day is challenging and disruptive, but it's not the child, it's the teacher. So we have to be able to observe when our teachers are having a bad day, when our teachers are not in the spirit of fun and happy and peace. It will allow the other children, the children set their atmosphere and adjust to the atmosphere that the teachers present. So don't just observe the child's behavior, but observe the teacher's behavior through the child as well. So then when we look at it from a volunteer's perspective, I would say the same thing. Observing your children. As a volunteer, as a teacher, it is very important that you have an insight and an eye to see when a child is angry, when they are hungry, when they are just upset about something going on at school or at home. There's a lot of different reasons as to why you may have a child that may be a little bit more challenging than the other children, or maybe they're good on one day and they're bad the next. And so you have to be able to observe the change in a child's behavior and to be open to letting them communicate their problems with you. So a lot of times, I say my mother's generation would say stay in a child's place and don't speak about that. What goes on in the house stays in the house, that whole type of thing. But a teacher or a director has to be that person that a child can communicate with about any problems, any issues whatsoever. You're their safe place. You are their leader, you're their guider, you're their mentor. You're the person that shows them the love of God, even though they may be receiving a lot of hate outside of your environment. So as a volunteer, a teacher, a teacher's aide, whatever position you are in, being sure that you allow children the opportunity to communicate with you and that you don't put a label on them before they get an opportunity to communicate. So that is an observation for teachers. Now children, where we're talking to children about observing, it is just observing your surroundings. Making sure you know where you are, making sure you know how to get to where you're supposed to go, making sure that you have an eye to be open, to be teachable, to be able to listen and follow directions, to challenge yourself in a way that allows you to be beneficial both in your school and church environment, so that you can be used in many different auxiliaries, whether it be we're preaching today, or we're going to do a dance today, we're going to do acting today, whatever different auxiliaries you offer, giving a child the opportunity to observe their surroundings, get comfortable with their surroundings. You have to be able to find what group you work with best, what age group you work with best, being able to know what area is best for you, what auxiliary is best for you. So that's observation from a director's perspective, volunteering perspective, even to the children. Then we jump into C, which is create. So the idea of create is so big in children's ministry and so overlooked. I think that a lot of times we can kind of get into this whole kind of same thing all the time, not really giving creativity to our children's ministry, not really having an eye to pop a balloon here, put a stuffed animal there, let them do a dance in the hallway, let them introduce people as they're greeting, giving children an opportunity to be a part of the creation of the environment allows them the ability to show their creativity and also be used. And so that's going to increase your numbers as from a director's point of view, because the more that you use children, the more children you will get. All parents want to see their babies up on the stage, clapping their hands, singing their song, doing their twirls and their flips and their flops. All parents want to see that. And so the more that you give a child an opportunity to be creative, he will do that or she will do that. And so you can find many different things, whether it's media, training, maybe you have a kid that stands by the camera guy. And the camera guy is teaching that child what to do. Maybe you have them in the production booth, the sound booth, and that child is learning how to operate the sound. Maybe you have them do praise and worship, leading praise and worship one Sunday. Finding different things and different ways that they can be creative and use their mind in a creative way is going to really boost your numbers. It's going to show your parents that you don't just care about children's ministry, but you care about the children in the ministry. And so when you do it from a director's point of view, do not stay in a box. You know, open up your mind to many different possibilities. Don't be afraid to let children create. Same thing with teachers. Being creative with your arts and crafts, being creative with your lesson. If you're just using the Bible, making your room Noah's Ark. Let's say y'all are teaching on Noah's Ark that week. Maybe there's animal paintings on the wall, or maybe the kids get to color in animals on the wall. Whatever it is that you're creating for that week, turning your room into that atmosphere, adjusting the children to that lesson, and allowing the teachers to use their creativity in their classrooms, that is going to be an amazing boost for your teacher demographic, because I don't know about you all, but we have a little turnaround with volunteers and teachers in children's ministry. But the more that we allow them to be independent in their creativity, the more we get. The more that we let them know, yeah, you can use bulletin paper on the wall and be great, the more that they are involved and excited and wanting to be a part. And so you have to allow room for creativity. You have to allow your mind for creativity. As the director, I give a vision and I allow them to be able to create the vision that I have given based on their expertise to do so. And so you have to give people just as much room to fail as you do to succeed, because there's a lesson in both. And so if you're only picking the people that do it right every time, all the time, then you don't get to teach those who would be better at that position with a little bit more training. If you don't focus on how to create a creative, then you will miss out on the opportunity that would boost your ministry overall. And so allowing people to be creative, allowing yourself to be creative and to think outside of the box. A lot of the stuff that I mentioned is very expensive, and so it's not like a financial thing. You can do most everything in creative mindset is stemmed from inexpensive material. And so when you talk about it from a volunteer perspective, again, allowing your volunteers to be creative, to give you ideas and concepts, to be able to have an open communication with you or the person under you, if you have a volunteer lead, I'm not sure. So them having an open communication to be able to freely give their ideas and their concepts is something that's going to help as well. So you don't feel like you're the only person that's given the vision, or you're the only person that's being creative, you're the only person that can come up with these concepts. Having an open ear to hear the different concepts and creativity from your teachers overall is going to really, really help you. From a child's perspective, again, letting your child get their feet wet. Let your kids get their feet wet. Let them learn how to do the lights. Let them learn how to do offering. Let them learn how to greet the people. Let them learn how to pray for people. Let them do the prayers in the opening. Let them do the scriptures in the morning. Allowing them to have an opportunity to connect in a way where they are a part of the ministry. You know, it's children's ministry. And so allowing them the opportunity to be a part, where when you walk in, you don't just see the adult greeter, but you see the kid with her greeting the child as well. So a child will greet the child and the adult will greet the parent, or however you want to operate that, but giving them a full place in ministry. We have what we call junior PMTs. You all probably know them as ushers. And so we call them professional ministry technicians. And we have a junior set. So they start from like 7 years old to 12. And they do the offering, they hold the baskets, they greet the people in the morning. They are the example of professional ministry technicians in children's ministry that we have in the adult area. So just opening up your mind to those possibilities. Then we go into C, the other C, which is challenge. Do not be afraid to challenge your team. You have to be willing to stretch them. You have to be willing to put them in positions that they may not have done before, to lean on them, to trust in them, that they would be willing to accept the challenge and implement it in a way that is effective for your ministry. You not being afraid of challenging yourself. Maybe today you challenge yourself to get 50 more kids today than you did last Sunday, or today we're going to get 20 more kids, or we're going to get $100 more in offering. Challenging yourself as a director will always keep you ahead. If you stay in one spot, then you'll stay in one spot. So making sure that you are always challenging your demographic, challenging your numbers, challenging your position is going to really, really help. And for volunteers and teachers to be able to do the same, to challenge themselves and challenge their resources and their team and their curriculum is going to work as well. I feel that most of the time in children's ministry, we are built on the challenges that we do not ever acknowledge until they have shown to be a benefit to us. And so you may find that you've been challenging yourself all this time and it's become comfortable for you. So now you've got to stretch yourself a little bit more and stretch your teachers a little bit more and stretch your children a little bit more as you elevate the people behind you and following you should do the same. I should never be higher than the people behind me who are pushing me. They should be feeling that same type of anointing, that same type of flow, that same type of creativity, because we are all a team. So you may see an amazing production, and they may say, let's give a hand to Cora James Coleman, the children's ministry director, for this amazing production. And the first thing I'm going to say is, none of this could have happened without my team. And so being able to challenge yourself to not take the credit is also a challenge in itself. To be able to give your team the opportunity to shine just as well and just as much as you do. And so that's from a director's position, to always challenge yourself to be challenged. from a teacher's perspective to not be afraid of the challenge. Every time we get a new teacher, I tell them, I'm going to stretch you, I'm going to push you, I'm going to ask you to do things that you don't want to do, but it's going to make you better at the end. If you just trust me, I will get you to where you need to be at the end of the day. And so when people see me, they know I'm going to stretch them. They know I'm going to challenge them. They know that I'm going to ask them to do things that are out of their norm, but it helps them to become better for their position at the end of the day. And so from a kid's perspective, we take that on as whatever we're teaching. So your challenge may be to memorize the scripture effectively today. Your challenge may be to learn all the books of the Bible by the next Sunday. Your challenge may be to collect stories out of the Bible. Whatever that challenge is that the director or the teacher gives that child, being able to accept that challenge, to take that challenge on, and to not be afraid. So when we talked about challenge, we talked about like David and Goliath, and how David was able to accept his challenge and to not be afraid, and because he was not afraid and he accepted the challenge, he was able to defeat Goliath. And so whatever your Goliath may be, whatever your Goliath may be standing in front of you, whatever that may symbolize for you, if you accept the challenge and you are not afraid, you can defeat your Goliath. And so that's challenge. Then we go to you. Unite. Again, like I said, I'm always going to acknowledge my team. I'm always going to give them credit. You give credit where credit is due. You give honor where honor is due, so on and so forth. But a lot of times there is a discord in communication, which causes us to not unite effectively in children's ministry. And so what could be an amazing team turns out to be a competition. And so we're not able to really stay in the position that we are called to be in because we're trying to take the position of the person ahead of us. And so a lot of people can be very, very good leaders and poor followers. And the only problem with that is you need people who are willing to follow you even if they know they're qualified to lead. Because if they cannot follow a leader that has been appointed, then they will never be appointed. When you see your team and you see your teachers and they are in a wrestle with power, you have to be able to look at them and let them know this isn't a power struggle. I'm not better than you. I'm not bigger than you. I'm not stronger than you. I'm appointed for this position right now. And so I'm going to do what God has appointed me to do in this position. And I want you to follow me. I want you to push me. I want you to hold me up. I want you to be cheering me on. If you can't do that, this may not be the ministry for you. And to be willing to know what you need to unite with and what you need to tear apart is huge in children's ministry. Because you will have a lot of people who come in because they want credit hours. You'll have a lot of people who come in because they're just nosy. You'll have a lot of people who come in because they just want to be in the mix, you know? And so you have to be able to know what is a good unite, what's a divine connection, and what is messy drama that you don't have time for. And so you unite as a director with your team, which would be your volunteers and your teachers. For the volunteers and teachers, you must be willing to unite with your leader. So there's not a discord and a power struggle. If you can't unite with your leader, then why would anyone want to follow you? If you don't show yourself to be a good follower, I wouldn't want to follow you. And so being able to be a great follower as a teacher and a volunteer will elevate you to positions that are higher and stronger, and you end up becoming the leader because of how well you follow. So unity starts with our ability to know our position, to accept our position and to walk in our position in spite of what is going on around us or what we desire to have. Okay? So when we talk about unity for children, is the same thing. We'll end up getting into a power struggle as children of who is more popular than the other. So then you have your popular clique, and then you have the mean girls, and then you have this clique and that clique, and we bring high school into children's ministry when we need to bring united. So we have what we call teen ambassadors. And what our teen ambassadors do is when they have aged out of children's ministry, they become ambassadors to the younger children, and they start helping, and they are teachers, aides, and they help in that classroom to bring about unity for the older kids and the younger kids, so it's not like a bully type situation. The older kids are the covering for the younger kids, and we place them strategically that way so that it doesn't become that whole war. And so the older kids know they're like the older sisters and the older brothers of our younger kids, and the younger kids know that they look up to our older kids for how they're supposed to worship, how they're supposed to dance, how they're supposed to pray. They look up to them as an example. And so being able to bring unity where you're united, but there's still strategic roles. Like we have teen ambassadors, we have teens, and we have children. Everybody has a specific role, but it's still a unity. We're still together. It's very, very important in children's ministry. So I would say, because we have a lot of our 12-year-olds that turn 13 that don't want to leave. So we put them into the teen ambassador so that they can get their high school credit hours, that they can learn how to teach, they can learn how to follow, they can learn how to guide and mentor. So that's how we bring unity throughout that thread, be it director, teacher, or children, being able to understand that we all have power, we all have position, we all have a role to play. It's just how you're going to play it, how you're going to operate in that power, and how you're going to produce, which brings us to P, produce. Whatever you do with OCCU will define and dictate what is produced. Whatever you observe, whatever you create, however you challenge, however you unite, it will show what you did in your production. Whatever you produce is your power of position. And so I can tell how good your ministry is based off of what you produce. I can tell how good your children are based off of their behavior when they're in your atmosphere. If they're good everywhere else but children's ministry, you did not observe, create, challenge, or unite the way that you were supposed to. Your production shows me the power of how you observe, how you create, how you challenge, and how you bring people together. And so if you are able to do the other components so well, you should see a production of great number increase, of great behavior increase, of children flourishing, and you'll get a lot of parents saying how wonderful it is, and my child learned this scripture, and my child did this, and I saw her clapping and praying, and all of that you will see in your production. If you're not producing high numbers, if you're not getting a lot of accolades, if parents and teachers are not singing your high praises, you must go back and look at how you've observed, how you've created, how you've challenged, how you've united, because your production shows me the fruitfulness of your roots and your tree. No different than a fruit tree, if you will. I can tell how good that tree is based off of what it's rooted in, how much sunlight it's getting, what it's observing, what it's creating, how it withstands challenges, how it comes together with the other things on the land and vegetation. There's a unity, there's a challenge, there's a creation, there's an observation that must come in order to produce what you're looking for. So that brings us to produce from a director's perspective. It is very important that you are always analyzing your fruit. Because if you are not analyzing your fruit, if you don't walk through your ministry, if you don't observe your ministry, if you don't have a hand in the creation of your ministry, if you don't have a hand in the vision, if you're not going to the rehearsals and you're not checking in, then you will look up and you will have wild fruit all over the place. And you don't even know how it began. So it's very, very important that you are always evaluating what you're producing, that you are always evaluating your babies and how they go through your program. A lot of our babies are 12 and have been there since they were 3 months old. I look from our baby classroom all the way up to our 12-year-old classroom, because if you don't want them with us in the nursery, I won't see them in the 6 and 7-year-old classroom. But if I can look and say, what we produced in the nursery is following through all the way to the end, then I know that I'm producing something of great quality. So make sure that you're keeping an eye on your children. Of course, I can't remember 750 kids, but everyone knows of me. Everyone knows me, knows how I operate. They know not to test me, not to try me, or anything of the nature, because of how I produce my atmosphere, and they adjust to that. Okay? From a teacher's perspective, whatever you produce will give your children power. If you are not producing things through the resources of your curriculum, your Bible, whatever it is that you're using, if you're not producing children that want to come back, if you're not producing children that want to learn and that are being taught, then you have to really look at how you are observing, creating, challenging, uniting your classroom. So be very, very cautious and cognitive about how you produce in your classroom. Okay? So that's from a teacher's volunteer perspective, is making sure that your children are being produced, that they are learning, that they are growing, that they are being fruitful. And when you are fruitful with the children that you do have, that's when you start seeing, oh, I brought my friend with me this Sunday, or I brought my cousin with me this Sunday, or she's going to be here this Wednesday. You start seeing a multiplication from your fruit because of how you produce. From a children's perspective, you must always feel like you are a part of the production. If you don't feel like you are a part of the production, then you will feel like you're in the nosebleed section and nobody gave you VIP tickets, and this is your ministry. This is the children's ministry. So they should be a part of the production. They should be a part of what you produce. They should be a part of what you say, what you feel. They should be an in your ministry. The children's ministry is the strongest ministry in churches. A lot of people pick churches based off of their children's ministry. And so you have to make sure that when they walk into the church, they see the children's ministry. They know of the children's ministry. They know of the kids, and so on and so forth. And then we end with you. Because at the end of the day, observation, create, challenge, uniting, producing, none of that can happen without you. It is important that you are allowing yourself to be 100% in the game. And that when you are on your 90% day, that you are able to at least still put in an effort that benefits and edifies your ministry overall. If you're too tired, put someone in a position that can help undergird you, lift you up, and push you and still excel this ministry. When I'm out of town, my ministry must still go forth. There should not be a hitch. There should not be an issue, because my team has been observed, they have been created, they have been challenged, they are united, they can produce. with or without me. But all of that happens with you. Everything that you occupy, be it children's ministry, be it volunteer, be it director, be it child yourself, whatever it is that you occupy must start with you. So, again, we go through a recap. Observe. Observe your surroundings. Observe who you are. Observe your teaching. Observe your material. Create. Create. Be creative. Allow your teachers to be creative. Allow your life to be creative. Allow your ministry to operate in huge creativity. Don't stay in the box. Challenge. Challenge yourself. Challenge who you are. Challenge where you're going. Challenge what you want to do with your ministry. Unite. Bring people together. Bring your ministry together. Bring your curriculums together. Bring your teachers together. Always have meetings with your teachers at least once a quarter. Make sure that there is some type of unity that comes with your ministry. Produce. Produce yourself. Produce your children. The power of your ability to observe, create, challenge, and unite will all dictate how well you produce and be. At the end of the day, none of this is possible without you. So, that's all I've got. I hope I was helpful, and I'm excited for questions. That was my favorite part.
Please give me a good round of applause. Thank you so much. I think in a very short space of time, you've given us a lot to think about. I mean, the words occupy, observe, create, challenge, unite, and you. I mean, the way you've unpacked it has definitely brought it to life. I love how each of the words speak to every single participant in children's ministry. You know, the director, the children, and the children's assistants. Cora, your insights are going to be invaluable. I especially love the part where you start speaking about create and how we as Sunday school teachers and as children should not be afraid just to create and be creative. And especially the part of giving children a platform, you know, that this is their platform to create. So just to fill you in, this is our first children's conference. And
really?
yes, so this is all very new for us, and your teachings are extremely relevant. And we did something new for a change. We brought in young children to direct the programs, and we've been very amazed at the response and what's happened. So, you know, definitely we feel that your words and your teachings are going to build a strong foundation for us going forward. So,
wow, thank you.
So, I know that there are probably people that are buzzing and would love to ask questions. Mrs. Strong was sitting next to me. Do you, as our director for Children's Ministry, do you have any questions for Cora? Okay. Over to Mrs. Strong.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you this evening?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm good. Thanks for the presentation. And I've got just a few questions to ask. I heard about the teachers, the role of the teachers, the role of children, that they must be safe. And I want to know, what is the role of the parents? How do they support this children's ministry?
Perfect. Well, you know what? We have kind of dibbled and dabbled with, hold on one second, my earpiece is giving me some issues. Okay. What we have dibbled and dabbled with as far as our parents are concerned is allowing them an opportunity to be a part of the volunteer team, whether they pick one Sunday or one Wednesday out of the month to be a part, whether they are chaperones for our field trips, whether they are helping us with dance productions and putting on costumes, or whether they're passing out papers for us for VBS, or at the table. We have a lot of parents who volunteer in any area that they can so that they can be a part. And then we have our parents who would just prefer to drop little Johnny off and go on into service but allowing them an opportunity to really be kind of like the homeroom mom that they do at school. We try to give them that opportunity. If we're going to do a birthday party, letting them be a part of the birthday party setups and different things like that. We have a lot of parents that do like that homeroom chaperone type thing. And I think that you will find that if you give them a yes for whatever they desire to do, then they will come. Most of the time, parents don't want to be sitting in the room with children, but they will make copies for you. They will make calls for you, or they'll put a bow on something, but they don't want to be a teacher. So giving them many different options of how they can serve is going to help you a lot with getting your parents interested and involved.
Thank you so much, Cora. I think I see an audience question. I'll just read it out for you, Cora. So, question from the audience. When kids are given a challenging task, how do you acknowledge their efforts?
How do you manage the what?
So, when kids are given a challenging task, how do you acknowledge their efforts?
Okay. When children are being given a challenging task, how do I acknowledge their what?
Their efforts. The amount of effort they put in to actually complete that task.
Gotcha.
Yes.
I think that you have to give people an opportunity to do things at the pace that they're able to do them. I think that when you give someone a challenge, them just accepting it is a big step. And then allowing them the opportunity to kind of pace themselves in the challenge is always very, very effective. You don't want to push people or rush people into having to do something that they're not really used to doing quickly. So people are going to take time, they're going to have to adjust to being stretched. You're going to have to adjust to being challenged, especially if this is something they've never done before. But being able to give them the room to fail, the room to move as slowly as they need to, will give you an opportunity to both assess and adjust as you need to. Because you may have a child that you challenge like all the other children, but they are not able to do that specific challenge. So you're able in that time that it may take for them to be moving slowly or moving quickly to assess their ability to accept the challenge or not. Does that answer?
Yes, I think it answers my question. We have another question from the audience. They really love your talk. So how much time do you need to really make an impact on children?
Wow. Yeah. I think that's in the eye of the beholder, but this is why I say that. For me, I can impact a child's life in the first 2 minutes of seeing them. For others, it may take you weeks or months to get close to a child and get them to warm up to you and want to approach you. Again, it's a gift. Children's ministry, or being able to be a director or a teacher in children's ministry, is a gift. And so I think that given the time that you need, you can impact a child. And I impact y'all in the first hour.
You said you did.
So you don't have to, you don't need months, you don't need years, you don't need, a long amount of time to be an impact to someone. It's all about what you say, not the time that you say it, but what you are saying to a child, how you are developing them, not treating them as you would your child at home, because there's some behavioral things that you expect from your child at home that isn't realistic for your student. And so being able to allow them the opportunity to be fed and for you to pour into them is going to be an impact. Your good morning can be impactful. Your goodbye can be impactful. Your hug to a child that spends the night crying can be impactful. So you really can't tell how impactful or the time span that you need to be impactful. It's all about how you are saying it, how you are impacting, how you are growing people. And I don't think you can really put a time to that.
All right, no, thank you. Mrs. Michelle also has another question for you.
Okay. One more question, ma'am. I'm worried about teachers, I'm worried about educators, I'm worried about volunteers. How do we arouse interest so that they stay with the children for a longer time? To be entitled to qualify, do you have workshops? Do you train them? How do you do it?
Okay, so we do all of the above. We train them, we allow them 3 observations before they can even become a teacher or a teacher's aide or anything, because a lot of times you will weed out the ones that are not strong enough for children's ministry in those observations. We'll have people who say, yeah, I'm ready, I want to go. And they observe the classes and they get to pick which class they want to observe. And after that 3rd one, they're like, you know, maybe I should be an usher. I don't think I should be in children's ministry. So you want to give them an opportunity to observe what they're getting into. And then when they observe it, then you make them make a commitment to your ministry. And so that commitment can be contractual, that they are going to give you at least 2 Sundays out of the month, or at least 2 Wednesdays out of the month, however that's going to work. Now, what you may run into is a burnout. So if you don't give them kind of space and scheduling, and they're always there, and they're always there all the time, and they never get a moment to get the word or to be in service, then they'll burn out quickly, and then you'll have a quicker turnover rate. So we make sure that they commit to at least 2 services, be it Sunday or Wednesday, and that they always have at least 2 services that they can go to and get fed and get ministered to. We do a volunteer type meet and greet, if you will, at least once a quarter, where it's not about your curriculum, it's not about how many kids you have, it's not about any of that, but just celebrating and appreciating them for their work and their time and being able to give them an opportunity to be celebrated. A lot of times we will miss out on an opportunity to celebrate our volunteers, and that causes them to leave as well. So you can do something as simple as $1 cards that's in the room when they get in there. You can do, you know, a peppermint bowl or something that's just really, really quick that shows them that you appreciate them, that you value them, and that you're happy to have them a part of your ministry. That's some different things that we do. And then you have to be able to be okay with letting some people go. Some people are not fit for your ministry. And that is okay. It is okay that some people are not going to fit. It's okay that you may get some teachers that after a couple of Sundays, they're not able to do it. And that doesn't have anything to do with you as a person or you as your ministry so much as it is them. And so I think that it's very important for you not to get so focused on the ones that leave that you don't validate the ones that stay, because if you are always focused on the turnaround and the ones that leave, then the ones that are dedicated and the ones that do stay will start to go also, because they see that you focus more on the ones that leave than the ones that stay. So make sure that you're always appreciating your teachers and your volunteers. Make sure that they know that they're cared about, that they're considered, and that you want them to be in the best area for themselves. Have them to do gift assessments. You may have a teacher in a classroom that's better as an administrator. You may have an administrator in a classroom that's better as a teacher. You may have a lot of different people that are in your ministry that leave because they think the only thing they can do is be a teacher. So open up a lot of different options that they can have and still be a part of the children's ministry, even if that means they're not a teacher.
So thank you very much. That was very well explained. Just out of personal interest, I am in children's ministry, and I just wanted to know what, in terms of the gender mix, what do you find normally? Do you have, lots of males interested in children's ministry, or is it predominantly more females interested?
It seems to be more females than males interested, and the reason why that is because we're nurturers. Women nurture, they like to hug the babies, they like to coddle the babies, they want to feed the bottles and burps and blankets and all. That's a mother thing. What we get men for is the protection. So you may have a need for male volunteer or male presence. Give them the option of being the protection. Maybe they stand in the hallways. Maybe they are in the classrooms just watching over the children. Maybe they are the greeters. Maybe they are the male mentor group. Start up a male mentor group for your teens and your young boys where you can get more male interest. Because when you go up to a male and say, do you want to be a teacher in the children's ministry, they're probably going to detour from that. But if you say, hey, would you like to be one of the lead male teachers for our mentor group for boys, then you may draw in more male volunteers than you did before. But giving them an area or an opportunity that gives them the opportunity to be dads and not mommies, then that will be your best fit. But here too, we get more females than males for sure, because mommies are teachers.
Thank you. Are there any more questions? All right. I think it's time for us to close. Cora, thank you so much for Thank you so much for streaming and being with us today. We really appreciate your address. This is very empowering, not only for children's ministry. So this message is from our Archbishop. So this is directed to you. So he says this is very empowering, not only for our children's ministry leaders, but I feel some of the lessons you've shared apply equally to the overall church leadership. I cannot wait for us to occupy. I also feel we need to invite you to join us in person, to continue sharing your experience and gift with us. Over your energy and your great passion for this work. Sending you best wishes on your continued ministry. May the Lord make you more impactful and productive. And please send our warm regards to Bishop Jakes and the entire Potter House team.
It will be my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It is an honor to help you occupy, and I would be even more honored to see you all face to face. So again, if anyone wants to connect with me, you can do so by going to my website, which is corajakescoleman.com. And to the Archbishop and everyone, whoever is involved in me being here, I want to say thank you and I appreciate you, and happy hunting for the rest of the conference.
Thank you. Cora, I'm just going to take her out.
Is that not a room full of occupants?
Cora, we look forward to speaking to you next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for bearing with us and being patient and listening. We hope you've all enjoyed the session, and we will now continue with the talent show. Thank you.
Cora serves as the Executive Director of Destiny House Children's Ministry at the Potter House of Dallas, where she's able to impact the lives of children and teach them to have good surprise. Her fertility faith drive has helped change lives. Her writing has encouraged women and families that are suffering from infertility.
So that we can begin to produce our dreams and produce our promises no matter what our fears is.
Ford is a dynamic, down-to-earth creature who captures God's heart with her prayers and inspires her audience to faith it with her pen, her prayer, and her platform. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Corey James Coleman.
As content A is coming up to the front here. Top.